which I don't blame you for doing it because of the dust and all the.
I can see that,
But they're not there anymore, so those bigger staff moved. At least I assume. I don't see any equipment in there anymore.
Alrighty, everybody.
Wonder where our illustrious attorney is today.
Unmute Manny.
So no lawyer today?
Manny, can you hear me okay?
Well, my lending company is.
Yes, I can.
Alrighty, he's on the phone today. All right, everybody, welcome to the July Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Thank you for being here and beating the heat. In lieu of roll call, we're going to introduce ourselves starting on my far right.
Dave Grenoble.
Kim Stewart McNevin.
Aubrey Anderson.
Samantha Stratton, Clerk Treasurer.
Jeff Yeager.
And Mike Garrett.
And then Attorney Manny Hersick is on the phone today. All right, before we get started, I am going to read our rules of procedure before we begin. The proceedings of this hearing are governed by the board's rules of procedures. Petitioners and persons appearing in support of the case being heard shall have a maximum of 15 minutes for the presentation of evidence, statements, and arguments in support of the petition. Any person that desires to speak and provide testimony during today's hearing must first complete the sign-in slip located on the table in the back of the room. The slip must be presented to the board before you provide your testimony. Remonstrators and persons appearing in opposition to the petition shall have a maximum of 15 minutes for the presentation of evidence, statements, and arguments in opposition to the petition. Staff will then present the administrator's comments regarding the petition. The petitioner will then be allowed 5 minutes for rebuttal and a summation of the case. Rebuttal must be limited to the subject matter of the initial presentations. Remonstrators will be allowed 5 minutes for rebuttal for the petitioner's rebuttal of evidence and a brief closing statement. No further evidence, statements, or arguments will be heard unless it is at the discretion of the board. Please limit your testimony and evidence to the matters covered in the statutory requirements which must be met before the board to grant a variance. If the petitioners have failed to comply with all notice requirements as stipulated by the board's rules of procedure, including posting of the notice placard on the subject property at least 23 days prior to the hearing, the board may continue the petition. Anyone at this hearing who thinks complete and proper notices have not been given and would like the petition continued due to lack of proper notice must bring this matter to the board's attention and at the beginning of the hearing. The board may impose various conditions as amendments before reaching a decision on certain petitions. The installation of landscaping and screenings, the paving of parked areas, and the dedication of right-of-way are examples of such conditions. These conditions are an integral part of the board's decision and must be met for a granted variance to be valid. Every decision of the Beech Grove Board of Zoning Appeals shall be subject to judicial review. Such petition for a judicial review shall be presented to the court within 30 days after the decision of this board. Please be courteous and orderly at all times and make sure all cell phone ringers are turned off. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions about our procedures? Alrighty. If you plan to speak today, can you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, perfect. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we will call the petitioner to talk to the board about why you're petitioning today, and you have 15 minutes. That would be you. Yeah. And then if you can approach the podium and just state your name for me.
James Wheatley, 8th and Main,
All right.
across the street. I was petitioning for the variance so that I can keep my backyard secure from keeping people from entering my backyard without my permission, as it's happened several times during various events or people just passing through. I've had kids peeing, crapping in my yard. I've had adults do this. The adults I throw into the alley. I don't care. I don't press charge. I just throw them into the alley. But I have, excuse me, I have a right to a secure backyard to keep people from getting into my backyard. And that's the main reason. And I was also given a set of guidelines by the previous group, and apparently that grandfathering doesn't apply after whatever the date, I don't know. But Ryan Matkins checked into it for me, and he said it was valid at the time, but since sometime the grandfathering or from my 8-foot fence, even though I can still use it, I should have gotten a variance before I built it. So other than that, I don't know what else other than I have pictures and stuff in defense of my problem.
Okay. Board, do you have any questions for the petitioner right now?
Can,
at this time,
can you
no.
state that again? You got permission from somebody? Have you been in front of the BZA or the zoning board at Indianapolis?
No, no, I was given guidelines to, I could I could build my fence by Dan McMillan. It was grandfathered in, cause there's an existing 8-foot fence that's been there for 32 years, 31 years. He said, you can tie onto that fence and continue it around your yard. I just can't break the plane of the face of my garage on 8th Avenue.
Okay.
And that was my guidelines I was given. Also, since being the homeowner, there's a whole list of things, like 4 or 5 things. I couldn't spend more than $500 at a time, no more than $3,000 a year, because I'm a homeowner, and I had to do the work myself, which I did all the work myself, and I bought the material and had it delivered, and I built a fence.
Was
Did
this
you
during?
change the fence?
I'm sorry.
As far as
In other words, did you take the old one down or did you just build onto it?
I took the old fence, I took parts of it down at a time, and then I tied onto the 8-foot fence and kept it going across the back of the alley and up to the side of my garage.
Okay.
Just for a timeline perspective, did you get that from Mr. McMillan when he was clerk treasurer?
Yes,
Okay, so it's been quite some time.
it's
So
been a
we've,
few years.
yeah, we've updated our
Yeah.
rules since then.
Okay.
So, all right.
And then Ryan Matkins checked in and goes, yeah, he said that $500 doesn't apply anymore. He said you can spend as much as you want, but you still have to do the work yourself. So I didn't know that. I thought, I just go by that, and that's all I did. And I didn't know that there was going to be an Indianapolis problem.
Gotcha.
And in fact, I bumped into Mark, our compliance officer, a few weeks ago, and he said, why haven't you finished it over the time? I said, I haven't finished it because I was following the guidelines I was given by not spending over $3,000 a year. New year, I'll spend more. But
Gotcha.
he said, you can go and spend as much as you want on it to finish it.
Yeah.
So, and then I just have, eventually, if there's any rebuttal, I have some pictures of the same problems in Indianapolis, of the same problem, and no one does anything to them. I've talked to a couple of the owners, and no one said anything to them about a problem. So I just have a problem. Why is mine's a problem, but theirs is not a problem?
Okay.
Yes, any more questions for me?
No, thanks.
All right, thank you.
No, I would remind the petitioner that if he wants to submit anything to the board, he can feel free to do that.
All right, he said if you want to submit any of those pictures or anything before the end of the hearing, you just have to submit it to the board so we can put it on record. Okay. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in support of the petition? All right, yeah, just approach the podium and just state your name for me. Yes, you may.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Pritchett. I'm Mrs. James Wheatley, and I live at the corner of 8th and Main. And we have a large fence because, number one, I was tired of the problems he said, but I'm tired of people taking their dogs, walking them around, and I am a dog owner, letting them poop, picking it up, and then as they pass by, either going down the alley or down 8th Street, throwing their mess in our yard. So then I have to go out and pick it all up and throw it away. I am so tired of their trash and garbage being tossed over into the yard, having to clean up their mess. When our trash is right there in the alley where they could just put it inside, but they do not. And I have a question, or I have a problem with the fact that we live in Beech Grove, not in Indianapolis. Why is Indianapolis not taking care of Indianapolis problems, coming to Beech Grove to bother individual citizens like myself with this whatever, this ordeal. And I've been a mess since this has all gone on terribly. And I dream about it at night. It's like, what is the problem? I see so many problems driving everywhere in Indianapolis, but not here. So please explain this to me. That's all.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
do have a question, if I may.
Uh-huh.
I understand that your fence is 8 foot and the zoning now is 6 foot. They now have in place where the materials that are to be used. So why did you not choose the materials that are to be used? I understand you did it previously, you put your fence up, but it's not made of the materials that are required, is what I'm asking.
We did not realize there was a requirement of fencing material. I'm an old person, and I know you can make a fence out of anything. I come from Montgomery County where their farmers have all kinds of fences, and I'm like, I was unaware that there was a specific
Yeah, ordinance.
ordinance
Right.
against it. It's like, this is our yard, and I really liked this fencing because you could paint it or put a mural on it to make it look better or more pretty, but you couldn't throw things through it. People couldn't see in and torment my dogs or whatever is in my backyard. I just, like, we did not realize there was an ordinance against it.
Okay, because that's something that jumps
That
out
was
at me
the
also.
other thing
just-
I was gonna say. I didn't realize there were only certain materials that could be used to do a fence.
That are considered, in compliance, okay.
Okay.
What is a
What's the compliance?
material that is available?
Okay, let me see here, we have to build fences must be constructed with wood, stone, brick, decorative concrete block, wrought iron, let me see here, vegetated cellular confinement systems or other materials compatible with the primary building materials. So I guess I was just wondering, how you chose your materials for that also. And by the way, I live in Beech Grove also.
Well, I saw it.
Yeah.
We were going somewhere, and I saw this fence out of that material, and I thought, what a novel idea. I really like that. The dogs can't stick their nose through, under, or around anything. They can't see what's outside, so they won't bark at what's outside. What they don't see, they won't bark at. I just really liked it, and it goes in any, so many different colors. I thought, that's really cool. I really like that, and so it's my fault. But I liked it, but I told him, I said, I don't want this between us and our neighbor. I want something that they can pick out with us, so that most of the fence between our houses, they've approved of. And so, it's like
The
I'm
neighbors
trying
approve
to work with everyone. Plus, I've asked all our neighbors and anybody who comes up and down the street regularly, like going to the restaurant or going to the Eagles or whatever, do you find a problem with our fence? They go, no, we wish we'd have thought of that. And I'm like, okay. And I said, do you have a problem seeing around it? No, because 8 is a one-way going north. So it's like, there's no problem, but you can still see. It doesn't matter if you want to go north or if you want to go south. You can see all directions. What the problem is, there are the cars. You cannot see around the cars. Like here at the corner, when the cars are parked, going to the restaurants or whatever, you can't see around them. You have to come almost into the middle of the intersection to see what's coming. So, okay, is that good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who would like to talk against approval of the petition? No, none seen, and at this time we'll call staff.
Right, absolutely. Everyone able to hear me? Am I audible for Manny as well? Just checking in.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you to the Beech Grove Board for your time and for your volunteerism. Thank you as well to the petitioner for your comments. Our staff is recommending denial of the variances requested to maintain this fence as is. Our primary rationale there is in congruence with the ordinance regulations, with infill housing guidelines as part of the city's comprehensive plan and the context of the immediately surrounding area. So for a bit of context, based on our research of the site, it's about 0.15 acres at the southwest corner of Main and 8th Avenue. It is directly to the south of this very building, would likely be visible if you just peeked out that window to the south there. There's further residences behind that primary building to the south, and I believe there's a dentist office to the east as well on the other side of 8th Avenue. There's a sort of short retaining wall area on the southeast of the property, which measures around 3 feet in height based on staff's measurement. Based on aerial street level photographs we were able to obtain from Google Street, it looked like that had been the only visual obstruction within the year 2011. That's based on photograph 2 within your exhibits. Between 2011 and 2025, it looks like there were some trees planted and a partial wooden fence was placed along the southern portion of the site. That's photograph number 4 within your exhibits. It's possible that a taller fence had existed either prior to 2011 or between 2011 and 2025. We hadn't seen evidence of that within Google Street View photographs, so I guess I'm not certain in that regard. We're also not certain of any conversations that might have happened between the petitioner and Mr. McMillan about potentially legally non-conforming or grandfathered fencing. That isn't something that factored into our staff's recommendation. So additional fence was placed in 2025 between when that Google Street View photo was taken and when the violation was opened. The materials used appear similar to residential siding that was placed directly on top of that sort of retaining wall structure. Based on aerial and inspector photographs, it looks like it runs parallel along the eastern garage up to the southeast corner of the property line, and it also runs along the southern portion and intersects with the existing wooden fence on the western portion of the site. I can sort of see some angled aerial views of that on page 7 of your staff report. An anonymous complaint was made to the Marion County Mayor's Action Center, which led to an Indianapolis inspector visiting the site in early 2026 and then opening a violation case related to this fence. 99 times out of 100, zoning enforcement for Marion County, the city of Indianapolis, is reactive. We typically don't seek out these sorts of things. It's just as it's reported to the city, an inspector is then sent out to investigate the complaint that was made. It appears that the height of those new materials ranges from 6 to 8 feet in total height. It was placed on top of sort of retaining wall area at the southeast corner, so sort of taking in that 3 feet. In addition to the 6, the fence itself might be around more like closer to 9 feet in overall height. So approval of this variance this afternoon would allow for that fence to remain in place. 3 total variances would be required. The first would be related to the height. This would be a corner side and rear yard respectively, where a maximum height of 6 feet is allowed. That is exceeded by the new fencing areas. The clear sight triangle, there's also a small encroachment into the required visual area between the intersection of 8th Street and the alley to the south, where some of our houses obtain vehicle access. Page 9 of your staff report shows the level of encroachment of the fence into the area. It's just a sort of a small portion at the very far southeast of the site. And then additionally, as was discussed a bit, the materials would require a variance as well. The ordinance lists multiple options for fencing, as one of the board members did just read into the record. This doesn't appear to meet those standards. In making a recommendation, our staff consulted infill housing guidelines, which are a published part of the city's comprehensive plan. It recommends see-through fencing is safest and indicates that fences should be simple and contextual to neighborhoods. Upon our visit, we weren't able to identify any nearby residential fences that were very similar to this in terms of height or materials used. I guess to sort of break down the variances by component, ordinance rules for height exist to allow some level of privacy, while also giving reasonable limitations not to have properties completely walled off, some level of pedestrian friendliness or accessibility, vibrancy, things of that nature. The proposed height would be an increase of 83% over the maximum height permitted, which is getting close to double. The findings mention privacy and keeping people out. Staff would hope that if this variance were to be denied, that alternate options could be explored to allow for that level of privacy without the dramatic increase in height over ordinance standards. A common principle that we cite is minimal relief. The least amount of variance grant possible to achieve the desired impact. Our staff isn't certain that a height increase at this level would constitute minimal relief. We feel alternate options might be for a shorter fence, up to 3 additional feet on top of the existing retaining wall, utilizing plantings or landscaped area for buffer in a manner similar to the May 2025 photo. Maybe if there's issues with people encroaching into the yard or leaving their dogs waste there, some sort of signage encouraging them to be more considerate. might be a potential option as well. With regards to the clear sight triangle, as the petitioner noted, 8th Avenue is northbound only for vehicle traffic, which would reduce some level of visibility risk for vehicles. You wouldn't have southbound cars coming down, having their view blocked by the house for cars exiting the alley. They'd just be coming north, so you'd be able to see the cars coming. However, one thing that staff did note is there are also sidewalks along that eastern property line, and pedestrian traffic could hypothetically be walking north or walking south. There might be some small level of visual obstruction that exists there as well. Final variance requested relates to the materials. Our ordinance does offer a degree of flexibility. I believe those rules are in place both for safety and for aesthetic reasons. Again, we feel that the difficulty here would be imposed by the placement of the non-compliant fence as opposed to anything specific or endemic to the site itself, which is one of the statutory requirements for approval of variances. We feel that denial could lead to replacement with a new fence or screening matter in a way that might be more consistent with the surrounding area, potentially. So that's our primary rationale. As a board, you have the ability to request commitments or find points of compromise if you like. That is our staff's recommendation. We'd encourage listening to both that as well as to the evidence provided by petitioner in making your decision. And we're happy to answer questions that you might have.
Michael, do we need to take the concrete wall into account?
So the way that our ordinance is written is that, and I actually brought a small diagram here. So if there's grade levels with an increase of more than 2 feet in height, those are typically included within the calculation of the overall fence height. Based on the measurement that I took with a little laser pointer measure when visiting the site, it looks like that height is around 3 feet. So the way the variance grant is written, it doesn't call out a specific height. So it seems like at the corner, the height would be the 6 or so feet on top of the 3-foot retaining wall.
Okay.
Right, so if you were considering perhaps a point of compromise, thinking you would include the 3 feet within the 6-foot maximum height calculation, to answer the question. Yeah.
Above the concrete or including the concrete?
Inclusive of the concrete. So grade would be 0, 3 foot for the sort of concrete retaining wall, and that 3 foot would be included within the 6-foot maximum allowed.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, you're calling grade 0. Grade 0 is their yard, not the street. They built their fence in the yard, correct? Trying to protect their yard, not your street, not our street, however the case may be.
Right.
So,
I suppose, I guess I'm looking at the sidewalk.
Right.
Grade then maybe, and then the retaining wall portion that's directly adjacent to it, which does rise 3 feet off of the ground. Which constitutes the
I
yard.
agree with you there.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, their yard should be classified as grade 0. Because their yard is level with it, or maybe just a couple inches below the retaining wall. 6
Okay.
or 8, whatever, I don't know, I didn't see. Your pictures don't show me what their backyard looks like.
It
And I
almost
didn't
looks
go
like
in
a
their backyard.
retaining wall.
I'm sorry, what?
It almost looks like a retaining wall to keep from erosion.
Correct, I agree with that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
But
that's
that's why I'm saying that the grade of their yard is higher than the street.
Sure.
If you go on down, you go to their neighbor next door, they back up like this high to get into their
That'd be next
garage.
door to the west.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
that direction, yeah, there's,
Okay.
but that's what I'm saying, so the way that you're reading this is grade 0 is the street. And I believe that's grade -3.
Okay,
That's-
so that would be like
but that's
negative
my
3,
opinion.
looking at it as 0. Okay.
That's the way I'm seeing it.
Right.
So that's why I understand why they built 6 feet above their,
Right.
above their yard.
Yeah, I think at the
So-
time of inspection, they were taking that sort of grade level 0
Mm-hmm.
feet from the street. You know, if the board wanted to view that as a form of hardship or utilize that 0 foot
Okay.
in making the recommendation, they certainly could. I do still think the height variance would be required, since it does appear that some portions of the fence would exceed even 6 foot from the established retaining wall grade.
Right.
But yeah, not
Yeah,
all portions.
well, like I'm
It
saying-
It seems to vary from 6 to 8 feet from the base of the retaining wall.
6 inches here or there, right.
Sure. Yeah, I wasn't able to get the precise measurement, but
Okay.
as shown in photograph, I think it's photo 2 maybe. No, yeah, one of the sure, yeah.
Michael, I have a question just for my own edification.
Absolutely.
Are trees included in the triangle of sight rules?
Yes, yeah, new plantings would need to meet required clear site triangular standards.
But
so-
I just don't want them to run into, because they have
If
trees on
they-
the other side of the fence. I don't want them to run into a second violation with existing trees.
Right, yeah,
Okay.
want to avoid that as well. Presumably if new landscaping were added within the small portion of the site that encroaches into clear site, that could pose a zoning issue. My guess is it likely wouldn't be enforced for existing trees, but that would be a question best directed to the inspector. Yeah.
I have a question. A few years ago, we had a case that they were petitioning for a 6-foot fence. They were on a corner lot.
Mhm.
And the ordinance states that if you're on a corner lot, you basically have 2 front yards.
Sure.
So they couldn't have a 6-foot fence on the street side. Which he basically has 2 front yards, correct?
Right, so it actually depends on which of the city's 2 context areas the lot falls into. So for areas that are, typically tighter, more compact lots, like the ones along Main Street, like the ones like right downtown within Marion County Center Township, those would be considered as having a front yard and then a corner side yard. For areas that are a little looser, we would call that the metro context area, and then those corner yards would have 2 residential front yards. So in this case, we have 1 front yard, which is Main Street, and then 1 corner side yard, which would be 8th.
So that is not considered a front yard.
It is more front facing than many side yards would be, but it is a side yard.
So he wouldn't have to have a variance for that.
Well, the height max within the corner side would be 6 feet. I suppose if the board were viewing sort of retaining portions as grade 0, those portions might not require it. Portions that might dip down below that, potentially it would. But I would likely say better safe than sorry and consider it as needing the granted a variance.
I was just wondering if he had to petition for that too, so.
Right, so approval of this would allow for the fence to remain as is within
Gotcha.
all yards. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Manny, you're back.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or?
All right, thank you.
Absolutely, thanks.
All right, petitioner, you do have 5 minutes if you would like to respond to anything staff has presented.
In regards to the material, I used, it's metal barn roofing, bought it from Menards. I got the idea from this picture, which I can give you guys to look at. It's the exact same material, bought at the exact same Menards, and it's metal, and it's in Indianapolis. No one's ever complained about it, no one cares apparently.
But is that an industrial area? How's it zoned there?
Houses right across the street from it.
Okay, but on the side of it, because zoning can be more on the straight. I mean, is there, what's beside it here? Is this commercial here?
This is, there's a
That's what I
house
thought.
across the
This
street
is-
from it.
this is
This is all the
residential.
houses across
Okay.
the street from it. Here's the same corner, a little bit closer. There's a wooden fence that's 10 feet tall
In Beech Grove?
in Indianapolis.
Oh,
In
okay.
their neighborhood. There's the same metal fence at nighttime because they couldn't get there during the daytime. This one is over 40 feet long, and it's southeast of here towards Acton area, if you guys wish to look at this one. Here's the metal fence, it's 15 feet tall, sits on the sidewalk, houses across the street from it. Here's a wooden fence that sits in the alley that is 6.5 feet tall, and it
Is that-
blocks the view.
Is that also Indianapolis or is that Beech Grove?
Indianapolis.
Because,
I can't
You s-
find anything in
Beech
violation of
Grove.
Beach Road.
That's because, here's the thing that you have to understand. Whatever pictures you have,
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a precedent,
Okay.
okay? Number one. And number two, it's Marion County that sets the guidelines on the zoning and planning and site. What we're here to do, which 2 of us are appointed by the mayor and 3 of us are appointed by the council, is to hear a petition because you need a variance to fix or to keep you from having to comply with what they're asking. What's been done in Indianapolis, what's been done on 9th Street has nothing to do with this situation because every
Okay, I didn't know.
property's different.
I didn't
Okay.
understand, I didn't know how that all was, I thought I had to material, came up with my material and the idea of how to secure my backyard. As far as, the previous group, I didn't think it would change. I didn't thought to check with the new group, that there was that I had to get a variance because the previous group said you have to keep my 8-foot fence all the way around to keep it the same height everywhere. No one said there was anything different about changing the height of the fence
Until someone complained, yeah.
until someone complained. I didn't know you could complain about a fence like that. As far as my neighbors didn't complain, so who cares, right? I don't know how it all works.
It can be compliance. We had a case in 2024 where somebody put a privacy fence up in Beach Grove, but it was a corner lot. They ran it all the way to the sidewalk, which you can't go past the edge of the house.
Right, that's
So
why I stayed at the edge of my house.
your eastern
Is my house.
section, okay, but you're at the edge of your garage? Is that right?
Yeah, the face of my fence is in line, it's laser lined in the face of my garage.
That's what I wanted to
It is
ask.
straight line of my
Okay.
fence back to the edge of the retaining wall, and I attached to the retaining wall to hold the fence posts up.
Okay.
I stayed within the guidelines of my yard, or within my zone of stuff, my parts, stuff I own, stuff I have to provide for.
Okay, so you made mention people walking in your yard,
Oh, yeah.
and was part of the fence down at some time that was happening?
It used to have that decorative block wall that was up. I eventually took it down here not 2 summers ago. It had they're hollow block walls.
Okay.
And it went from my steps in the backyard at the alley to the corner. It was obstructed mostly, his picture probably don't show it, but it was mostly obstructed by the bush that grew over all of it.
Okay.
The bush grew, and I just let it grow because it kept fewer people out. But what they would do is they come down the alley, or down 8th, they jump up by the tree, they go through, and they do their business, and they went down the 4-foot gate that was there, and out on back in the alley.
Okay.
Except for occasionally a homeowner caught them and threw them into the alley. Because I have a right to have a secure backyard. And I guess I didn't realize there were special rules for corner lots. Are there special rules for where do you find that information at?
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people don't take the time to Google.
I
Yeah.
didn't know- I didn't
Right.
know-
Because if
For
you
that,
if
yeah.
you go Marion County guidelines for fences, it's amazing. Everything and what you don't have to get a permit.
Okay, which I didn't.
And you can put a fence anywhere on your yard as long as it's within 2 inches inside your property line,
Okay,
unless you have a corner lot. And then it changes how high it can be, where it has to set. And those are all things that have to be taken into consideration. And it's not our guidelines, we just have to rule on it.
Yeah.
okay. I didn't,
Yeah, they sort of look at it as if you're driving and you come, and you said, it's one way and everything, but they also look if someone's driving, coming in or out, pedestrians, that's where they come up with that rule.
Yeah.
But,
since you can't go south on 8th Avenue,
right, you would
there's no
think that.
obstruction going south. In the 14 years I've lived over there, I've seen 4 vehicles go south on 8th Avenue.
Right,
2 fire trucks, a police car, and an ambulance, and I'm okay with that. That's
Okay.
perfectly fine with me. I hope they go that way. It gets there quicker. But other than that,
yeah, I'm just telling you where that little one, I've seen it in
And
other,
as far as-
other areas, yeah.
the Googling thing, you're looking at the guy who doesn't Google hardly anything. I barely use a computer.
Okay.
But I didn't know that there were special rules for corner lots, and
And material,
had no idea about special material because I see metal fences all over town,
I know.
and they're everywhere. I mean,
Not in Beach Grove?
yes, there are. It's on Beach Road though. There's a metal fence over by the Speedway gas station on Churchman. Churchman and Emerson, there's a metal fence right around the corner from me. But, okay, other than that,
You can ask any question.
So Michael, there's 3 different things that we need to consider.
Yes. You can vote on those
Separately, yeah.
if you so choose, or take those.
Okay.
which one would you guys like to start with? You've got variance on height, you've got the clear sight triangle variance, and then also fence material variance.
Huh?
Let's say we start with fence material.
Fence material, okay. Is there a motion either way about granting a variance on materials used?
I wish we could go into a room and confer, but I understand we can't.
Yeah, because,
You can discuss, like, I know you in public, it's fine too.
Yeah.
You don't have to motion right away.
So what are you guys thinking?
I don't really have a problem with the height at all. I understand why they want it. I've been there myself. I won't go into why. But that being said, the material, I'm not real fond of. I apologize for that.
and that's where I am also,
But,
the material used.
That's, and this, I drove down that alley, both directions. Drove down the street. And the only problems I have is that 50,000-pound black truck that's across the street that I can't see down 8th Street for the traffic that's coming northbound. But the fence didn't bother me anywhere other than the fact that it's there.
Yeah, I drove the alley just to see, because I was concerned about the view. But with that retaining wall and the vegetation being above it,
Right.
you can see the sidewalk.
Yeah,
You can
I'd
see
have-
if anybody's
right.
coming north or south from
And
the
I feel
sidewalk.
a pedestrian that walks in front of the alley, shame on you,
Yeah.
without looking.
Look both ways.
That's my opinion. But yeah, the material's the only part that bothers me. I don't understand the line of sight triangle. That's a little above my pay grade, I guess. But the rest of it, the material's the only thing I have an issue with.
That's kind of where I miss the material. That's why
Okay.
that's why I asked that when I was reading through here, and I drove by and looked. It's just the material.
Okay, but we still have to address the other things, because right now he's gotten did you get a violation from the county?
Yeah.
Huh? No, I mean, did he get, like, the one we heard in 2024, the guy actually got a letter saying he was gonna have to pay a $2,500 fine for his privacy fence. So I didn't know if he had gotten a notification. Huh? You did get that?
Did you get a letter?
Okay.
Back in, it was
Earlier this year, January.
like March. It came in the mail finally in March.
We gave it to the mayor.
We gave it to the downstairs, they got copies of it, they kept the letter and everything, it's in the file with, down there.
Okay.
Citations are within staff's report.
Okay. Did you guys pay that?
No, because we filed the variance and
Okay.
waited.
All right, cool.
So we're waiting on today.
So on the matter of the height, I make a motion that we allow the height of the fence to remain.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
You're opposed to the motion?
No, I'm sorry. I was slow coming to the party. I'm good with the height.
Okay. So variance on height has been approved with a vote of 5-0. Okay, got 2 left.
Yep.
Yeah, the clear triangle of sight and then fence materials.
Okay. So you had mentioned, and I want to make sure I understood you, ma'am, that is the material on the other side that's between you and your neighbor going to be different than what you put along the back in the east side?
Yes, it's gonna remain wood.
Okay.
It's been there for so long that the boards are warped and they're coming apart. And by what he was told, we could only replace so much at a time. And so the summer runs out, or the good weather runs out. And that's why it hasn't all been finished by now. But, yes, it is different.
Okay. You want to
We
make a
don't
motion?
wanna,
No.
As far as material, it was actually expense-wise to put wood up and the pricing. That metal, the metal
yeah.
roofing, that material.
Oh, none of it's cheap. I put a vinyl fence up, so I know exactly, none of it's cheap.
It's mainly expense. That was considerably cheaper to put up.
but I liked it. I really like it.
I make a motion that that they have to return to material that's within compliance of the zoning.
And I
I don't care what they use, but they're gonna have to use something that's part of the approval of the zoning.
Because here it has what else.
How do you wanna word
I
that?
think it's a denial.
Deny the variance related to the material?
Yeah, you have to deny,
Correct, deny the
deny an
variance.
variance
Okay,
of materials.
okay. I make a motion to deny the variance for the material.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to the motion? No, okay. That variance is denied with a vote of 5 to 1, 5 to 0, excuse me. Can't count today. And then you got clear sight triangle left.
Approve the height. We can talk.
Oh, yeah, you can talk amongst yourself,
Approve
yeah.
the height.
Yep.
I mean, so,
Michael, what is a clear sight triangle? Explain that to me, or could you, or draw it?
Right, so
Yeah.
the clear sight triangle is defined by our ordinance as the intersection of either two rights of way, or it can be defined as the intersection of a street and of a private drive, just to prevent negative instances of two vehicles interacting or vehicles and pedestrians, bicyclists interacting. They require some level of lack of visual obstruction within those specified areas. The amount of how that triangle is created depends on the street classification type. And this is the one prescribed by our zoning ordinance. I know that many traffic engineers do use clear sight triangles, but often might be a bit narrower than what the Marion County zoning ordinance prescribes. In this case, it would be based on the intersection from the center line would be 40 feet out for the alley, and I believe it was 75 feet out for the local street to the east.
Okay, I think I get you.
Right.
Yeah,
Trying
and
to prevent, yes,
on
the
this
orange triangle in the diagram. So as small.
It's hard to see if it's in black and white.
Oh, I
it is
got
printed
you.
off. I have a
Oh.
color version if you'd like.
Now I
Yeah.
see it. I got you.
Right, only a small overall portion of the fence falls within the clear sight triangle area in this particular instance.
Thank you. Sure, go ahead.
The line of sight, is that for a two-way street or a one-way street? Because a one-way street north doesn't have any south.
Unfortunately, our ordinance doesn't delineate between one-way or two-way streets for vehicle traffic. Now, that's something the board could keep in mind when voting. As mentioned, there would be southbound pedestrian traffic from the sidewalk closest to the property line. The vehicles would only come north.
I don't see it bothering me. Okay. I make a motion that, that the site triangle is negatively impacting in this instance.
Can you reword that? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to.
So do you want to let them keep their as is, or do you want them to clear
No,
the
I
site
want-
triangle all the way?
I think everything as it sits is fine.
Okay, so
Let's
it'd be a
approve.
motion to approve that variance.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I make a motion that we approve the variance of the sight line.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank
All
you.
those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna say nay.
Okay. All right, that variance is approved with a vote of 4 to 1. All right, so yes, 2 variances approved, 1 denied. Those photos that you had that you showed them, if you want to stop at the office and talk to Angie, who you've been talking to, just so she can make some copies, that way we can give it for your file and also to Michael, okay? All right, thank you all for coming today. All right, board, we have just one more thing to do, which is the minutes. Are
You're
there?
good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Where do I get the list? So how long do I have to change my material? And where do I get a list of that
That's
material?
him.
List of material Michael has, for sure.
I'd be happy to give you this page here.
I was gonna say, would you like me to give him mine, cause I had,
Yes, I do.
here, may I give you this? There you
Here.
go, and that way you have
You
that.
can have staff report.
And how long do I have to make this happen? Because I work 6 and 7 days a week.
Yeah, let's, yeah, I was gonna say, we have this here, we can do the better one, the full one there.
Well, in theory, the board voted with no time constraint. So,
Really?
reasonable time is typically 90 days.
Yeah,
Like 90
considering
to
you've already
120
been
days.
cited, I'd get it done as quickly as you can, or at least,
I'd recommend coordinating with your inspector to figure out.
Yeah.
the timeline.
Who is my inspector to find out who, do I have to get this re-inspected? When I rebuild
I
this
think they
thing?
likely would come out to re-inspect at some point. I'd be happy to get you.
That would be Mark
Send me
Bramley.
that number and I'll call that dude.
No,
Yeah, Angie also has that too.
It'd be, no, it'd be them.
I said, I
It would
work
have to be
3 on
city,
and 1 off.
Indianapolis.
I get 1 Sunday every other week off.
Hopefully they're flexible with that regard.
My issue is always what if roads change? So if they're in
You understand where I'm going?
compliance, then it's a little bit better.
If
Some
it was
of ours,
mine, it would.
but you see right there where
It's
it
just in
says
that first
Yeah.
paragraph. And if you have any further questions, Angie can help you downstairs too.
Yeah.
And the only thing you have to do is that back in that one side, the other side is wood, you're fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so between the houses, okay? Am I okay behind the tree on eighth
Fireworks.
If anything is
That's
built with the metal, it
anything
has
that's
to be
not-
replaced.
That material has to be replaced.
Yeah, that's anything with that material. Anything that's not what you have there.
Well, that's a possibility
You need a
too.
pen to underline it?
Just a goofy question. 'cause
Sure.
I'm-
Does it need to be to the board or just to me?
So all these chain link fences have to come down, because chain link fence is not on here?
Just give me one moment.
It doesn't.
Careful
block
now.
Even when they.
Now you're
All right.
getting into my yard.
Yeah, if we're gonna continue having questions, we need to be at the podium just for the record. Thank you.
It's just a question.
Okay. Do you have, what was your question?
I just wanted to know if anybody could suggest where you get fencing that tall.
Well, that's not the board's jurisdiction or their responsibility, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not something we could answer. You'll get a letter, eventually explaining the denial, and the board's determination is that the height that's there is allowable, so that's the maximum height you can do. You can go lower, certainly, but as far as everything else, work with your inspector and with Michael to get the specifics on what you can put in.
Yes. And if chain link would also be allowed to be there.
Well, that was just my quick question about the chain link fences. It's not in the list,
Right.
so that's not approved.
So there is a list of 8 or 9 approved materials. There is a table directly below it for when chain link fence is and is not allowed.
Because they use chain link fence and then they put that wrap around and you can't see through, so I'm just curious,
We can get you the full list, after the meeting, yeah. Alrighty, board, do you have any questions or comments about the minutes today?
No.
Alrighty, all I need is just a motion to approve and a
I
second.
make a motion, we approve excuse me, that we approve the minutes as written.
I second that.
Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, alright. Alright, thank you very much, and then I just need a motion to adjourn.
I move motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Alrighty, meeting is adjourned at 1:48. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
do have a petition next month.